Hey everyone, Eben here. For today's video, I thought I'd switch it up a little bit and try something on Procreate. So for this video, I'm going to be doing a 30-minute speed painting using some of the brushes that I've been working on here from my brush pack. That's coming out soon, the Procreate version. I just have to do some tweaks to make sure they're all working well within Procreate and optimized for this system. So I've got most of them ready, but that update's coming soon. If you haven't checked out the brush pack yet, you can find it in the description below. And of course, as usual, if you haven't subscribed already, make sure you do that. All right, so let's just start a timer here and get going. All right, got a new layer. And I'm just going to start, as I often do, with some loose texture. You know, we can even, something that's fun to do with Procreate is you can just start with a solid color like this. And the next thing I'm going to do is just start to create some variation. Just going to take out the thick dry brush here. And just start tapping in some things here. This brush has turned out a little bit differently on the Procreate version. I'm actually liking the differences so far. There's a bit more, just a tiny bit of transparency that I didn't include in the Photoshop brush that I might end up adding in later. So you can see there's some little bits where it gets a little bit less opaque. But there's still plenty of texture in there, and there's still that slight color variation that I love so much, as you can see here with the more intense colors. So, again, as usual, I'm really totally unaware of what I'm creating here, but we're just going to kind of find out as we go. Of course, I'm sort of thinking about this in terms of landscape design, so I'm sort of starting to plot out a bit of a skyline here, but I'm not totally sure how that's going to work out with the perspective and everything. And I'm almost thinking we could do one where we're sort of looking up from below, because that's sort of an unusual perspective. So I'm just gradually sort of brightening things up, and maybe I'll want to shift this over a little bit just so we're not right in the center there. Maybe have some loose perspective lines coming down around the edge. Maybe there are some indications of trees or something like that coming out. I don't know. We'll see. I'll just start messing around with the edges here. I'm thinking overall this is a bit dull for a palette, so let's start injecting some color in here. Maybe there's some light that's sort of hitting the far side here. Just around the edge of everything. Just going to zoom out so we have a bit more of an idea of what's happening overall. I've got some general shapes being formed here, almost like some vertical cliffs that we're looking up at, and I think I want to set up some kind of path or something going around the edge, just to give us a bit of a trajectory to follow when we're working, when our eyes are moving through this painting. Maybe there's some reflected light in other areas where the light isn't hitting directly, but it's just sort of bouncing onto these areas on the other side. You can kind of start to see it. Maybe we can cool off these greens down here. Just sort of tap in some texture. Maybe even some blues. Darken it up. It's much easier to do this kind of quick stuff in Procreate, I find. It's just a bit more intuitive. Let's get this nice blue sky here. Can bring out our mixer brush too. Maybe we can do some fun things with clouds. If you haven't checked it out already, I do have a cloud tutorial video here on my channel that you can watch if you are interested in learning about how to paint clouds, either on Photoshop or traditionally whatever medium you typically use. It applies in all scenarios. It's a bit of an interesting perspective we have here because we're sort of looking at them from underneath, so we're not going to see so much of the light hitting them, but we will see a lot of their sort of shadow sides. Oh, I didn't do that right, did I? Our light, our light source is coming from the other side of the canvas, but that's fine. We can just, I don't know, let's try this. Copy, paste, and just flip it. I don't know. We're still pretty early on in our painting here, so I'm not too worried about this. We can just merge those down. Got some storm clouds coming in from the left side of the canvas here. I can blow this up a little bit so you can see. And it'll probably be a bit brighter over here where the sun is sort of cresting over. Let's switch to something that has a bit more substance to it. Let's have some light beams sort of coming in around, like the sun is just around the corner there. And then let's take our selection tool. Let's just think about where we want to have our sunlight hitting directly. Just making out some quick selections here. Let's try that. Let's get a nice warm, bright color here. Boom. Very quick. We can fade that out a little bit on the side where the sun isn't is sort of fading into shadow a little more. Get a bit darker and a bit more red. Maybe we can have some just hitting the edges of these objects here. And then there will be some nice intense reflected light. These areas where the light's sort of bouncing off and hitting some other surfaces. Maybe not quite that intense over here. Let's flip this. Get some perspective here. I think we need more, maybe a bit of drawing to clarify some of these rock boundaries. It looks like that's what they are. Just some quick dark lines. I guess I kind of lost my path here, but we'll pick it up again. Let's get some nice bright highlights in the sky up here. That light's just sort of hitting every edge of the cloud. Maybe there are some spots like we mentioned before, where it gets a bit warmer, where the light's sort of shining through to the underside of the cloud here. We can use our smudge tool. Procreate has a really nice smudge tool. It's a bit better for blending things than the one in Photoshop. That one sort of more pushes everything around a bit. I think this sky overall is going to need to be a bit brighter. Looks like it's a nice, pretty much a clear sunny day, except for these storm clouds that are creeping in over here. Alright, now let's make sure we just have a way to get up around the side here. Little path, as I mentioned before. Maybe it's like some kind of series of bridges or platforms that are going around. we can even look at it upside down. Sometimes that helps to get some perspective. Or maybe it's just confusing me. I think it was. Sometimes that happens. I'll make sure there's some shadow under these. The light isn't getting through here. What else? How can we make this a little more engaging? Maybe we'll have some kind of building or structure or stone thing here. There's a lot more sunlight up there on the surface, so we're going to use a much stronger orange value in that area. I want to make sure it looks like our perspective is right as well. Some kind of stone tower. I don't know. We can even copy that. Paste it. Use that to make some more complex things here. You can distort it out. Whatever we need to do. Just erase off the edges there. Let's paste another one. I can warp it. Just erase away the edge. Flatten them down. This is an interesting piece. Not sure what's happening here really. Maybe I'll include some greens and yellows where the sunlight is hitting some vegetation up here. Throw in some deeper reds. Looks like this is kind of a red stone here. We can include some of those down here as well. Guess I'm getting a little messy with this, aren't I? I want to make sure we don't totally lose our form. Draw in some shadow areas where maybe there isn't some reflected light hitting. Oops, let's see, flip. I want to see more fun, fluffy white clouds here, because I'm a big fan. Make sure I find the right the brush here. All right, here we go. You can have all these areas of the cloud where it's so thin that light is able to just pass right through. And then we can sort of smudge those in and out as we need to. We can play up that storm cloud right behind the rock structure to give it some more contrast. Yeah, that looks a lot better. Alright, let's develop these platforms a bit more in our last 10 minutes here. Fun thing you can do in Procreate too is you can pop the color palette off to the side, so you can make some quick color changes if you need to. Have a little system of ladders or something going here. You can include a little bit of reflected light from the sky. Maybe not quite as intense. Something just right along the edge of these structures here. keep bringing these up. I'm getting a bit lazy with my shading here because I know I can just blur it right out with the smudge tool. Show a little ladder here. Maybe takes a twist and goes up some stairs over here. Brings us all the way up to the top. And we'll have some rocky things happening in here. Maybe there's some other well, I'm not sure what else we can have happening with these platforms. But for now, I'm just gonna make sure these rocks are looking good. Maybe give this a bit more detail here. I'm not sure about that. Maybe we could even have like a big, I know it's a bit late to be adding this in, but we could have some other kind of platform here. Sort of balance things out. Just gonna sort of clean up some of these shapes a little bit, make them look a bit less sketchy. I'm not sure about that platform at the bottom. To be honest, I'm just not really sure what to put there, so that's what I've done. Maybe we'll just make that shape a bit more interesting. Have some little bits poking out. And then we can do, I guess there's no need to create another layer here. Let's just do some fun stuff for the lighting here. This light brush is not in the pack, but I'm going to try to create something like this for the pack in addition to the light flare and the light beam brushes that I've already included there. Just something that closely approximates the linear dodge brush from Photoshop, because you don't have that function in Procreate. We can use our light flare brush though. I think I haven't actually tried it here yet, so let's see if it works. Yeah, it's kind of cool. Maybe a little bit artificial looking, but since this is a quick one, I'm not too concerned about it. And then I think the last thing I want to do here is just make some little bits of highlight around here. And maybe do a quick adjustment to the values here. Whoops, I made a red line there at some point. When did I do that? I do that all the time. I gotta get one of those gloves. I actually ordered one just a few days ago, but there we are. Smudged it out. Maybe do a quick color balance here in my last minute. All right. Well, it's an interesting one. I'm not sure if everything is quite clear as far as the composition and the details and everything, but it's definitely a start, and not terrible for 30 minutes. So I hope you have enjoyed this video here, and be sure to leave a comment and let me know if you have any requests for future content. If you want to see more stuff from Procreate, or if you prefer to see more on Photoshop, please just go ahead and let me know. Once again, these brushes are available below. I'm going to be coming out with a Procreate version very soon. So thank you all for joining me, and take care.